I'm doing something I've never done before. 3 of these dang videos in one session. Just 2 teams. Because maybe here I won't suck. Well, I don't suck. It's my team. That's the problem. I get Rainbow Road. Oh my goodness. Yay. I wonder if I actually have a route to Mario Circuit. Because in the Special Cup, you go Mario Circuit, Peach Stadium, but I don't know. I still have a feeling that a majority of the question panels of this track are in the lower section, which is... That was one of my big concerns a while ago going into this, but I don't know. I bet most of the stuff in this track is on the ground level. Just the way they put out missions. There'd be way more missions if there's more in the upper levels. But I don't know. I'm going to be completely honest. It's still up in the air whether I want to do a course ranking video, which may seem weird. I'm indecisive. Okay. I just don't know. And if I did do it, I wouldn't include things like the versus mode or the routes like second Shy Guy Bazaar 2. I'd only, but like, what would I do with Crown City? Would I just do it like base it off of like the 3 laps Grand Prix? So like, what versions would I count of Crown City? Just the 3 lap? Or the 3 lap and the 2 Grand Prix ones? I think I'd just do the 3 lap versus. I think that's what Chef Rellis did. So that means there'd only be 30 things to rank. And maybe I'd rank it based off a location. Maybe I would do more than just the track itself and also do like locations. I don't know. Yeah, that's why I'm not certain I want to do it. But I don't know. That's right, I forgot. I'm only doing 1 lap. We live in a society. Yeah, no, my team actually is going to be in the lead, I think. It just takes only having 2 teams. I think having more than 2 teams would work better in multiplayer. Maybe next time I play with my dad, I'll do 4 teams with him. And I have a random list generator already preset on my phone with all 30 locations in this game so I could do 3 laps random. Nintendo. I'm sure they're saving a proper 3-lap thing as an update. Is like, people, again, like, this is being recorded way in advance of being uploaded, so I have no idea how how my comments are going to age. I swear, they better age like wine. But when people are like, "Oh, why doesn't Nintendo add a 3-lap?" You know, my dad's a software engineer, so what he said is sometimes the programmers are either rushed for time or don't always know what the consumer wants, and you can't just overnight add a 3-lap setting, at least well. And like, they're clearly trying to listen at least a little bit. Like, the frequency of 3-lap courses increased. It sounds like it still needs to increase more. But I believe that they are working on a solution. The question is it going to be too late? And I don't think so. I think once they add a 3-lap, that's going to help a lot. Because at the end of the day, well, the Swiss shoes sold amazing well for a brand new console. It is still a brand new console, and so much of the player base of this console hasn't gotten the game yet. So even the people that already have this console are done with Mario Kart World. As long as I was just going to use my placebo horn. Okay, whatever. As long as it gets fixed and newer people start being like, oh yeah, no, the game's great, Mario Kart World will have a thriving online. Because people often are like already comparing it like, it's online's dead. Just look at it compared to 8 Deluxe. 8 Deluxe is is the best-selling game on one of the best-selling consoles of all time. And quite frankly, by the end of 2025, the Switch One will probably be the best-selling console of all time. In June 2025, the same month that the Switch 2 released, the original Switch outsold the Xbox Series S and X. The original Switch did. The original Switch is still selling. Its numbers will slow down, especially since Switch 2s are readily available, especially if there's like good Black Friday deals on Switch 2. And especially with the price increase of Switch 1s. I think Switch 2 sales will definitely increase. And Switch 1s will decrease, but it still has a shot of becoming the highest selling console of all time. Of course Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has a more lively online. Of course it does! It's basic math, guys! The Switch 2 didn't sell over 100 million copies in June. So, I don't know. And as for Nintendo's price increases, I hope there haven't been more price increases since this video is recorded. But I do admit it is. I do kind of respect Nintendo for seemingly raising the price of literally everything except for Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch 2 games in America. Sorry, Canada. Canada got Switch 1 gaming price increases. Although, again, I just saw this on the internet. I don't know how true it is. Don't flame me in the comments, Canadians. But supposedly, if you do a direct currency exchange, the raised prices of Switch 1 games in Canada convert to $60 US. So, that's just a effect of currency changes over the past years. And supposedly, this is the first time Nintendo's done that. In the Switch 1 generation, raised game prices in Canada. So, gaming outside Japan, the US, and the UK must suck ass, just in general. Switch 2 prices are absurd in the Nordic countries. Sony raised prices in a lot of the Commonwealth nations, including the UK, but whatever. Xbox raising prices everywhere, but other than physical costing more in places like the UK gets a much better deal on the Switch 2 than my understanding than definitely the Nordic countries, and I believe also Canada. Canada doesn't get the full short end of the stick. They don't get the shortest end of the stick, but they definitely don't get a long stick in this either. But like, hopefully that stays true, because if Nintendo's genuinely just raising prices on everything else just so they don't raise the prices on the Switch 2, I do actually respect that to it. I do respect that, because let's be frank, the price of the Switch 2s never was the problem. For a console that handheld is the power of a PS4, docked is the power of developers, say, like closer to a Series S than a PS4. I don't believe that. I don't believe that, but that's what I've heard be thrown around by developers. Like, $450 is a pretty reasonable price. I wouldn't call it an amazing price. I'd say it's reasonable. Game prices are, for the most part, okay. Mario Kart cost $80 not because of the amount of content, but because it took 20,000 years to develop in development costs. I don't like higher prices. I don't, genuinely. But at the end of the day, Nintendo has a 98% employee retention rate, and they don't lay off thousands of people every year, unlike some corporations. Yes, I am biased. I'll admit, I know my biases. I'm biased against Xbox. By the way, I was talking about Xbox there. And at the end of the day, if I had to choose between Nintendo laying off 4,000 people or making Mario Kart World a game that you can get bundled with the Switch for $50, an $80 game, I'd choose Mario Kart being an $80 game. Since I'm going from digital to physical in like all my games, I have gotten so comfortable buying games on places like eBay. So like, any games I'm on edge about that I don't know if I'm going to want or like, I'll just buy used or on sale. The bigger issue with Nintendo's game prices are the fact that they don't depreciate in value. See, because Kirby Switch 2 Edition's $80. Okay, that looks horrible. But at the end of the day, it's priced that way because it's a $60 game plus $20 DLC. The Switch 2 Edition stuff is DLC. Okay, that doesn't look bad until you realize that Kirby's like a 3-year-old game. That's the problem. I think Kirby being $80 for the Switch 2 is not good. I don't think it's horrendous just because Nintendo never discounts their games. It shouldn't be $80 but they still value Kirby Forgotten Lands at $60. So when you keep that in mind, 60 plus 20, okay, that's not terrible. It's the fact that Kirby's still 60 that's terrible. That's the terrible part. Same with Breath of the Wild. Why is Breath of the Wild still valued at $60? It's an 8-year-old game, Wii U game. It's a Wii U game. I love Breath of the Wild. This is my favorite game of all time. But to get the complete Switch 2, if you've never owned Breath of the Wild before, you're not a Switch Online member. That's an important trait, by the way. Breath of the Wild's a $90 game on the Switch 2 to get everything. Now, if you have the Switch Online expansion pass, you could shave off 10 of those dollars. Because you just had to buy the Switch 1 edition and the DLC. So that's $80. So you can shave it off 10. But like, that's... Again, like, the game's worth $90. But it's also an 8-year-old game. Why are you still valuing Breath of the Wild without DLC? As a $60 game. That's just what I don't get. Like, I get it. Like, we've had things of like, don't sell everything for what it's worth. Guys, it's an $8-year-old game. Don't you think you would sell more copies of that 8-year-old game if it was cheaper? I mean, look at sales data. Apparently that's not true because a lot of people did buy a Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom physically. Hell, like, once I can get, like, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions on a really good, cheap price, I'll probably bite. Breath of the Wild, at least with Breath of the Wild, it's my favorite game of all time. I bought it on Wii U. I just realized right before recording this video that means I can actually mod Breath of the Wild now without emulating it on my computer or anything like that I don't want to do. I can actually now mod Breath of the Wild. This is... not the Shell Cup variant. Okay, I thought this was going to be Shell Cup variant, and I didn't look at the minimap. That's just Nintendo's problem. They don't lower the price of their games anymore. Is Tropical Freeze worth $60? Sure. But it released on Wii U for $50 and was turned into a Nintendo Selects. That's exactly what is happening with Kirby Breath of the Wild right now. Because at the end of the day, in a vacuum, the prices aren't terrible. They're just not good. They're not good at all. Like, Donkey Kong, $70, okay. I've never played a platformer more worth $70 than that before in my life. Mario Wonder is one of my favorite platformers of all time. But I don't know if I'd pay $70 for it. I have beaten it 3 times in 25 hours. Now, obviously, none of those are 100%. But I'm sure it would not take more than 10 hours to 100%. It probably would take closer to 5. It's one of my favorite games, period. I don't know if I'd want to pay $70 for it. Donkey Kong is very much worth $70. It is a ginormous game. I have 100%ed it. I can say that. It only took me about 45 hours to 100% it. Maybe closer to 50. I can't remember. And that's on the short end of 100%ing the game, by the way. I'm on the short end. So, I like this cart, by the way. And hell, if Mario Kart was $70, I definitely wouldn't complain. At the end of the day, though, the reason why it's $80 is because it took them 8 years to develop. With the routes, you have technically over 200 unique race layouts. And you have over 300 songs in the soundtrack. Quite literally, the only thing that's holding me back from saying that this game should win soundtrack of the year is the fact that a majority of this game's incredible soundtrack are remixes. I've listened to this soundtrack so much since the game's come out. So much. And it's literally an incredible soundtrack. But a majority of it, and most of the best songs, are not original to this game. Unlike something like Clear Obscure, which has like 150 to 200, I actually don't know the number off the top of my head, original songs. They're easily my two favorite soundtracks of the year. Two of my favorite video game soundtracks ever, actually, both this and Clear Obscure. But I think Clear Obscure should get the win. I don't like the Game Awards, but Clear Obscure should win. If it doesn't win Game of the Year, which I really think it should, it should at least win soundtrack. In before Elden Ring sweep, I swear to God, I will be pissed if Elden Ring. I haven't played it, but I will still be pissed because Elden Ring already has swept. I get that this is a new spin-off game, but still, I'd be pissed because it's the same year that Clear Obscure released. So Rainbow Road's at the bottom. Fun. And at the end of the day, as long as 90% of Switch 2 games, as long as 90% of Switch 2 exclusives are $70 or less, I'll be perfectly content with the prices of this gen, as long as they are complete games. See, you ought to see people online bemoaning the state of gaming right now and saying how AAAs have fallen off. For the most part, Nintendo actually still releases really quality titles. To me, people complaining about AAA gaming going to crap is a sign that they really only play things like shooters. Or just games that I wouldn't like. It's there's plenty of great RPGs that release from AAA studios. Or at worst, plenty of good games that release, RPG games that release from AAA studios. And of course, the indies are the best they've ever been. Hell, this year I've played 2 indies this year. That's the highest amount of indies I've bought in a year probably ever. I've bought indies before this, but 2 in 1 year for me, that's a big deal. And I plan on buying more before the year is over. As long as preferably physical. But I still need to watch that indie showcase because I will watch it. I'm genuinely curious. I want to broaden my taste in gaming. Because at the end of the day, the gaming industry is doing some really bad stuff. But I typically never experience the bad part of it. Just because of the games I play. At the end of the day, it depends what I'm playing. A new Final Fantasy comes out, it better have good gameplay or story. Because I'll probably play it once or twice, and then probably won't play it if I play it again for a long time. Fire Emblem's the one franchise that I will let have a bad story. and not complain about, because I know no matter how god-awful the story is in a new Fire Emblem, I will be replaying that game a bajillion times. Case in point, Fire Emblem Engage. I love Fire Emblem Engage. It's one of my favorite Fire Emblem games, despite having a horrible story. Horrible writing. I've actually had this conversation. Most of the time, people combine them, so I'm going to as well. Although the writing is I'll say it again. The writing is the problem with Engage, not the story. The story's not good. The story's passable. It's the writing that's trash. Yeah. Like, there's new data that come out, like, people my age are buying less games, and yeah. We don't have the money. I'm in a privileged spot. I live in a place, and I work at a job where my pay is raising. My pay was raising with the rate of inflation. These days, no. I'm not making enough more money to counteract the inflation. I just pray that we don't get to a state of hyperinflation at this point. But before this year, I was making enough to counteract inflation, at least a little bit. And at my age, in a minimum wage, essentially a minimum wage job, that's pretty good, actually, to be able to say that. And I'm definitely more in a privileged spot, but like, used gaming is such a great way to go. If only Nintendo games depreciated in value more. I genuinely think I'd be much more. Most of my issues with Nintendo as a company, I'd be willing to overlook if their games went on bigger sales more often, or permanent price decreases. Because at the end of the day, Nintendo's a megacorp. And as far as megacorps go, they're not even close to the worst one. But you know what? If they actually sold their games at cheaper prices after 8 years, if the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild was, hell, even $60 including the DLC, $60 including the DLC for the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild, that's a steal. That's great. That's great. They'd be one of the better megacorps, but nope, they're mid-tier. There's better megacorps, and there's a hell of a lot worse ones than Nintendo. They're not a Hollywood. They're not a Hollywood studio, which means they are not at the bottom. Yet. Yeah, all the film and television conglomerates are easily the bottom of the barrel when it comes to corporations. Easily. Nintendo easily beats out companies like Warner Bros. And Disney and Paramount in terms of being a okay company. They all suck. So, I don't know. Anyways, where's my $100 Switch 2 game, guys? That's just Breath of the Wild. You think I'm kidding? Oh yeah, and like 5-year-old games being ported to Nintendo the first time and coming at full price also sucks. That's not a Nintendo problem. That's a third-party problem. Yeah, because like if you watch my direct reaction video, I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably get Persona 3 Reload. No. It's a game key card, and it doesn't include all the DLC for $70. It's a $70 game and doesn't even give you all the DLC. Oh! Kill Wiggler! I killed Wiggler. I played Wiggler a scary amount of times considering he's like one of my favorite characters in this game. I don't remember what the next course is that I'm doing. But maybe I'll play Wiggler. If it even remotely fit. Oh. Is that what I think it is? Oh, I remember what's next. Yeah, there's no characters that fit it. One of the next 3, I'll definitely play Wiggy. This is such a good Rainbow Road. Although it is not my favorite. It is top tier, but it's not number 1. It's too easy. It's the most cinematic Rainbow Road, and I love it for that. Thematically, it is my favorite Rainbow Road. It beats out 7. 7 was previously my thematic favorite. But my favorite are still my 2 favorite ones to play, which is GBA Rainbow Road, GBA Rainbow Road Simp, right here. And after Mario Kart 8, Wii Rainbow Road. I was not a Mario Kart Wii Rainbow Road truther until I got to play it with controls that weren't rancid, awful trash. Like Wii's. Those are fighting words, I know. They were intentionally fighting words. I used to be a 7 truther, but it's a little boring gameplay-wise. I wonder if like the smoothing out curves in Mario Kart 8's version, which I didn't think were a big deal at all, I wonder if that actually does play a part in me finding it a little bit more boring now. Or if it's just the magic, or if it's just like Coconut Mall and Waluigi Pinball, where just being able to play it anytime I want made some of the magic wear off. And I will say, GBA Rainbow Road Remake, I doubt will be my favorite Rainbow Road, because one of the reasons why it is my favorite is because of how it works with Super Circuit's, controls and like the jump panels. See, all I needed was 2 teams to win. Peach Stadium. And I don't even once have to play bad crap, bull crap. Oh. Yeah, indeed. I don't think that manager job is something that I will actually be able to get as out of college. 70 to 80 grand a year. Do you realize, like, within like 2 to 3 years, I could get a cheap apartment somewhere where I can pursue film for that wage? And that's with poor spending habits. Yeah, I think the way I just took is slower than the main way, but I do not give a fligamorp. I don't give a smurf. I bet there's a panel on the roof. That'd be funny. Come on, let's use placebo horn. Oh, come on. I didn't hit wall. Ugh. I hate air horn. Now that Piranha Plant's not in this game, I actually think... I think the air horn's my least favorite item in this game by a long shot. I think this way may actually be faster though. Especially if you don't do what I just... Oh. 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 Dang it, I missed. Oh, I missed. I didn't get an item, but it was worth it. Wiggler. I kill you. You wiggled yourself. You gave yourself a little pee wiggle. Jesus Christ, why did I say that? Anyways, yeah, this track is dope. Dope gameplay-wise. Aesthetically, this is probably one of the weakest tracks in the game. Which really bugs me to say, because I absolutely adore this track's layout. The layout, I do think, may be Special Cup worthy, but the theming sure as hell ain't. The theming is definitely not worthy of penultimate. That's besides the point. Wow. Wow, guys! It was alternating! Wow, my team actually crushed theirs. That never happens. You know what? I don't need to play as Peach next video. There's still another Peach map. I'll play as Wiggler. Goodbye.